Welcome to the Wealth Guardians radio show. I'm your host, Doug Ray, and I really do appreciate you spending a little bit of your weekend with us. Bryce is here with me in the studio. Bryce, what's going on today?
Doug, I am doing just fine. You know, this is my favorite time of the year. Fall and football, October, all the major sports going on at one time. I'm happy as a clam. How about you?
I am too, and I guess this is a great time to be riding that Harley of yours, isn't it?
Well, we're going to try to take it up the Parkway this weekend after we're done here, yeah.
Superb. I hope the weather's fine for you.
Yeah, we look forward to it.
Well, for those of you who are new to our show, Ray Financial and the Wealth Guardians, a local independent firm that works with folks who are somewhere around 7 to 10 years from retirement or already retired. And most people don't know how to turn their retirement savings into accounts that give you a steady flow of income once you're not drawing that paycheck anymore. So I've focused my practice on retirement income planning. And history shows there's two powerful truths when it comes to finances in retirement. Number one, what got you to retirement will not necessarily get you through retirement. And most importantly, number two, losses mean more than gains in retirement once you aren't drawing that paycheck.
Again, Doug, two very important truths to remember. And the third truth that I like to remind everybody is that we practice as fiduciaries at the firm, which means we are required to make recommendations that are in your best interests, not ours, and not every advisor out there practices as a fiduciary. So keep that in mind, folks.
And before we get started, as we always do, hats off and salutes to all of our vets, our military, and our first responders. Thank you for all your sacrifices and what you do for us.
Indeed. And Doug, thank you for your service as well. Now, turning to our show today, like I said, we're in October, and that means my personal favorite holiday for more than one reason. Halloween.
Birthday boy.
Halloween time, my birthday. And, of course, this is the time of year for scary stories, haunts, fears, and all those illusions. Now, fortunately, these Halloween happenings, they're just make-believe for a few days each year. But in reality, though, there are many scary issues going on right now in the economic, retirement, tax, and investment world that are not make-believe. And this is causing people to fear the worst and be downright worried. We see it when we talk to our clients, Doug.
I'm just sitting here wondering, what the heck was it like being born on Halloween?
It was great.
Was it?
Yeah, absolutely. It didn't conflict with any, like you were born the day before Christmas, so you had your birthday and Christmas gifts convoluted, but you don't get gifts on Halloween.
So were you a trick or a treat?
Oh, I was both. But the other great thing is all of your friends always remember your birthday. It's like, oh, it's Halloween. Oh, it's Bryce's birthday. So it's perfect.
Well, super cool. But, you know, it's scary because, like you said, there's many real issues going on in the world of economics and finance and tax, investments, and, of course, you know, politics. It's always there. All of that can affect your retirement and estate planning. And if you're not addressing these, or you don't have a plan in place, then you're probably really scared to death.
Well, so what are these issues, Doug?
Well, you know, the fear of rising taxes in the future, the fear of an imploding stock market, the fear of reduction of entitlement benefits, kind of like Social Security and Medicare.
Right.
I mean, don't we hear this almost with every person we meet with?
We do, yep.
So there's also the fear of rising healthcare costs, the fear of long-term care illness that's going to possibly wipe out your entire retirement nest egg. Like we said, Halloween is made up, but unfortunately the issues we just named aren't. The good news is with proper planning, you can calm all those fears. So today, what we're going to do is take a look at each one in more detail so you don't have to spend your retirement years being scared of the what-ifs.
Yeah, and no one wants to spend their retirement years being scared. So let's get started today by talking about the first fear you mentioned, Doug, the fear of rising taxes in the future.
Well, you know, many people are very, very concerned about that.
As they should be. You
know, with this country's continued debt and spending issues, many people fear that taxes are going to go up in the future to help pay for all this, and that could be very well be a negative impact on people's retirement plans. That can mean more taxes on your income, which is not good. But it's not the biggest concern for pre-retirees and retirees. The biggest concern and the assets that will be affected the most are pre-tax retirement accounts like IRAs, 401ks, the 403bs, etc.
Why would that be?
Well, because that's where the money is. I mean, there's over $20 trillion in tax-deferred retirement accounts, and the government sees this money as a revenue source. Qualified retirement plans, your IRA, your 401k, the 403bs, are the most popular and the easiest accounts to save in for retirement. People save through direct funding or through automatic payroll deduction, and many people develop a very sizable retirement plan by the time they reach their retirement years.
Yeah, however, people forget that they don't own all this money.
No, they do not remember that Uncle Sam owns a portion, because when the money comes out, you have to pay tax at whatever income tax rates are at that particular time. In essence, many people own a tax bomb that continues to get more potent each year that it accumulates.
That sounds scary right there, tax bomb.
Yep. If tax rates increase in the future, essentially the amount of money that you own in retirement plans will be worth less, and the amount of money that Uncle Sam owns is going to be worth more. So are you prepared to give Uncle more of your retirement plan? Well, that's exactly what could happen if Congress decides to raise taxes in the future. What do you think is going to happen in the future, Bryce?
Well, I certainly agree with the sentiment there that taxes are most likely going to be higher in the future. So what can people do to get rid of this fear and prevent Uncle Sam from getting a larger amount of their retirement plan money is the big question.
Well, you know, the simple answer here is just develop a plan now to become more tax efficient. You look for ways to diffuse that tax bomb that you own and get money out of that taxable account into a tax-free account where it can grow without tax liability. Be protected from taxes in the future and be able to pass it on to your heirs. Make a strategic move each year to pay tax on a portion of this money now at our current low tax rates. Get money into some type of tax-free account like a Roth IRA. Mm-hmm. You can prevent that money from being subject to higher taxes later, even if those tax rates go up, which I absolutely think is going to happen. So in other words, be very proactive by taking your tax liability seriously. Choose to pay the tax on the money that you have now at today's current historically low tax rates. Implement a tax-managed plan each and every year and take advantage of the room you have left in your current tax bracket. If you do this, then you can become much more tax efficient and have more money in tax-free accounts and less in taxable accounts in the future, where it then should be out of harm's way when tax rates increase.
And Doug, you know that we utilize this protective strategy with our clients, and I'd like to encourage everyone out there, if you'd like to sit down to discuss with us whether this strategy that Doug's talking about would be appropriate for you, feel free to give us a call. And here's the number, 336-391-3409. Call us. We'll give you a no-cost, no-obligation review.
So, folks, you know, you may not be able to do anything about the government increasing taxes in the future, but you can do some things now to reduce and limit the effects of higher taxes in the future. And if you make the appropriate strategic move now and take advantage of the current tax system, which has pretty much the lowest tax brackets and rates of all time and will expire in a few years, you do not have to fear higher taxes in the future.
And that takes proactive planning, and that proactive planning is always smart. Another fear we've had a lot of conversations around lately, Doug, is the fear of an imploding stock market. Now, the stock market has gotten volatile again in this year, and we remember last fall, volatility picked up substantially. The markets performed very poorly, especially last December. And this spooked a lot of people, and they started to panic, and they began selling. Now, the market more or less has recovered from those losses, but most people are pretty scared that another big correction is coming, at least based on the conversations that you and I have, Doug. In fact, we know that correction is actually overdue. And remember, the last major correction was in 2008. That's 2008. That's now 11 years ago, almost 12 years ago, and early 2009 as well. It was when the stock market lost close to half of its value. Now, since that point, the markets have been on the longest bull run in history, and obviously in and out, depending on the day, we're at all-time highs.
Well, look, we all know markets just don't go up like this all the time.
Exactly, right? It's natural for markets to correct every once in a while, and that will certainly happen again at some point. In fact, many market talking heads think that this could happen soon. I know I agree with that. What are your thoughts, Doug?
Well, no one knows the answer of what's going to happen in the future, but the valuations are currently very high. People are flocking to high dividend paying stocks to get yield because that's one of the very few places you can get any yield at all.
Right.
Interest rates are just so low. This is overvaluing stock prices, which is building a bubble that is going to burst at some point. Odds don't favor an overnight crash, but it will happen at some point, and this fall could be very, very similar to the last fall, which some of the indicators are showing. Volatility has certainly picked up.
And, we've been preparing our clients for this and taking those proper steps to help them protect against it.
Well, proper risk management is so important, especially in the pre-retirement and retirement years. Whatever you do not want to go through another 2008. You may not be able to rely anymore on that passive buy and hold and the target date fund strategy. These investment strategies do not make adjustments based on changing market conditions. They own the same percentage of holdings, and it's very difficult or impossible to prevent the big hits to an investment plan with that approach. Remember, every time you lose money in the market, you have to make a higher percentage than you lost to get back to even.
It's like you say, losses count more than gains.
So, for example, like 2008, if you lost 50% of the value, you've got to earn 100% to get back to even. You have to earn double just to get back to even. In today's highly volatile and ever-changing market, especially in your pre-retirement and retirement years, you need to have an active, tactical risk management system and process in place that's going to make changes to your portfolio on a regular basis. You need a process that can measure volatility, track different market conditions, and make adjustments to your holdings based on all these factors.
In other words, you have to own the right types of investments based on the conditions of the markets, is what you're saying.
Right. Your thermostat makes adjustments all the time to keep your home comfortable.
Oh, that's true.
You need some type of process to keep your investment portfolio safe and comfortable at all times, and thus allow the potential to grow and protect your money in all market environments. With the right type of investment programs in place, you don't have to be scared of the markets.
Oh, it's very true. And, as I said, we've been talking to clients on a daily basis. And fortunately, we've helped them get into situations where they don't have to be as concerned about the volatility as they would have had to have been had they not make any changes. Well, folks, we are up against a quick break, but when we return, we'll shoot down a few other spooky details in regards to your retirement planning. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. And again, I want to remind you, if you like what you're hearing, consider liking us on our Wealth Guardians Radio Facebook page. We will be right back. And welcome back to the Wealth Guardians radio show. We've been having a little fun with the scary theme of Halloween and fleshing out a few scary topics that apply to your retirement. In the first half, we covered the fear of rising taxes and the potential implosion of the stock market. But another big fear that we are asked about all the time when we meet with potential clients is the fear of a reduction or changes in entitlement benefits such as Social Security and Medicare. Now, before I go any further, this is a good point to mention that we are holding our final 2019 workshop on Social Security optimization, and that's going to be on November 5th and 7th at 6:30 p.m. And we're going to take a deep dive on everything Social Security and how to make sure you maximize your lifetime payout as long as you haven't already started receiving your benefit, or if you're married that at least one spouse hasn't started receiving it. And we'll also touch on taxes and retirement, so we encourage you to go to our website on the events tab and register now. That's obviously www.thewealthguardians.com. There's no cost or obligation, but you do have to register in order to attend. And again, that's thewealthguardians.com. You can also call us, 336-391-3409. Leave your name and number, and our office will call on Monday to finish your registration. Now, you've heard the news stories about this over the last several years. Social Security and Medicare are heavily underfunded. Currently, Social Security is underfunded by an estimated $17.5 trillion with a T dollars. And Medicare and Medicaid are underfunded by an estimated $90 trillion with a T dollars. On top of this, we have the government spending approximately $1 trillion per year on means-tested entitlement programs. Now, with Social Security, you don't need to be scared that your Social Security is going to go away. That's just not going to happen. But they are going to have to make some adjustments to the system in order to save it. That may mean increasing the full retirement age or increasing the earliest age you can turn Social Security on, or increasing the payroll tax that people pay into Social Security.
You know, a lot of things are probably going to be coming down the pike in the future, so stay tuned.
Yeah, again, we'll be discussing this topic in great detail in our final Social Security Optimization Workshop of 2019. Again, it's November 5th and 7th at 6:30 p.m. And again, you can register online at thewealthguardians.com. We would look forward to seeing you there.
Well, you know, that kind of dovetails with the next fear, government-funded fear.
Dovetail or batwing?
Either one.
Okay.
Either one. Now, you know, Bryce, you mentioned a moment ago some dollars, the underfunded $17.5 trillion.
I wasn't aware that they were that underfunded.
Yeah, and people, you know, when you think about trillions, I mean, it's this mind-boggling number.
You can't get your head around it.
Let's put it in perspective. Our gross national product, that means everything we produce, we buy, we sell, we produce it, whether you eat out, whatever, cars that are produced, is annually $20 trillion, period. So Social Security itself is underfunded by almost a whole year's worth of everything we produce and sell. It's kind of mind-boggling.
Yeah, so in a sense, that would be like a household being in debt 1 year's worth of wages.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good way to put it, Bryce. So let's look at healthcare. That's extremely expensive and no relief in sight. A lot of people think, well, I'm 65, I'm on Medicare, so I'm pretty well covered. Well, yeah, maybe so. Medicare's available, but there's a lot of holes in Medicare. In order to patch those holes, you have to buy a Med-Sup insurance policy to fill the gaps. You're going to need an additional premium in order to fill those gaps. It's projected that most people are going to spend between $100,000 and $200,000 more for health care in addition to the Medicare cost.
Doug, costs are just out of sight. We have seen this, especially for individual business owners and people who don't work for an employer and have those costs paid for them.
Tell me about it. We just got
Do you know anything about that?
We just got our health care insurance premium for next year. It's up 20%. Yeah. But, you know, you got to have a plan in place for additional costs related to health care. Long-term care, obviously, it's a part of that issue, and long-term care can be tremendously expensive. It's the number one cause of financial ruin for retirees because it's not covered by Medicare. And it's only covered by Medicaid once you're basically dead flat broke. You need to have a plan in place for long-term care as well, because especially if you're married, there's a really good chance that at least one of you will need some type of long-term care in your future. Again, folks, it's not covered by Medicare.
Yeah, and that can be expensive. So what's the average cost for nursing home care, Doug? Isn't it around somewhere $50,000, $60,000 a year?
Yeah, it is. And that's not if you're, cognitively impaired. If you have to go into one of those facilities, it's even more. Most people don't want to go into a nursing home. They want to stay in their own home.
Yeah.
And they want to be, have the care there. That cost can even be more. It can be very scary to go into retirement without some type of plan in place for healthcare costs.
I see what you did there. That was nice. Now, based on the conversations that we have in our office on a daily, a weekly basis, I'd say right up there with the fears about taxes, Social Security, and healthcare is the fear of running out of money in retirement.
Well, when it comes down to it, the ultimate goal of retirement planning is to build a nest egg that's going to provide for you throughout your retirement years.
Right. And you work and you save your money over the years with the hope that it will last for both you and your spouse's lifetime. Now, it can be said that income is the outcome of retirement planning. I hadn't heard that before, but I like that. Income is the outcome of retirement planning. Now, most people understand the saving for retirement, but they don't know how to turn the savings into lifetime income while paying the least that they have to in taxes. Most financial advisors focus primarily on that accumulation side of planning, which obviously is important, and it's what's needed to build your retirement nest egg. Taking income from your nest egg the proper way needs to be done strategically and by a professional that has that experience, not just the accumulation experience. Now, with a plan for this in place, you can calm a very big fear in retirement. Not being scared about where your income is coming from in retirement and not being afraid that it will run out can give people tremendous peace of mind. Now, the good news here is that there are ways to set up a retirement income plan that will provide that lifetime income guarantee that I'm talking about. So, as retirement income planning professionals, Doug, your firm, the firm here, we have helped hundreds of families retire and maintain their lifestyle. This is what the firm does.
Yeah, Bryce, that's exactly right. And as we draw close to the end of the show today, let's touch on a few fears that are right now are in place.
Let's do it.
We've been told by people after initially talking with them that they felt so relieved after getting a proper retirement plan put in place. It doesn't mean that they're not having any issues or adjustments that need to be made in the future, but that's why we do annual reviews. Just like the couple we talked with yesterday. We've got a plan in place for them. He's going to retire at the end of the year. But we told him, things are going to change in your life, and that's why we meet with you every single year at minimum to make sure that our plan is still appropriate. And if there's changes to be made, we make those changes. So by having a plan in place, you're not going to go through retirement being scared or unsure of running out of money or knowing which account to draw income from. So let me ask you a question.
Go ahead, ask it.
Are you 100% sure that you understand all the planning options, the tools and the strategies that are available, and that your planning is set up the absolute best way for your unique, specific situation at the present time? Now, if your answer is yes, then congratulations. Most of you, the answer is going to be a resounding no. And if that's your situation, I want to offer a no-cost, no-obligation review of your current retirement plan. Our practice is built on retirement income planning.
Exactly, Doug. Let us identify areas where we can offer additional options and more tax efficiency and, of course, Social Security optimization for you.
We have helped, literally, we have helped hundreds of families retire the job and not the paycheck. So call us at 336-391-3409 to schedule a meeting, or you can reach out to us through our website at thewealthguardians.com. Let us put the retirement scaries to rest for you.
Very nice usage of the Halloween puns there, Doug.
Yeah, don't you hate it?
Yeah. Speaking of scaries, if we've got extra minute here, I'll tell you a horror story that I had when I was growing up. My mom had a friend who was a chemist, and he decided to make me a Halloween costume one time, specifically the mask. And he put together a concoction of chemicals that created this foam-like substance that was going to harden into more or less the shape of something that could go around my skull. And it looked like a blob, so to speak. Well, I was excited beyond belief. This was the coolest thing ever, watching it in the kitchen being created and whatnot, and this foam rising and hardening and whatnot. Well, we put it on my head. He cut out the holes for the eyes and the mouth and put it on my head. What we didn't realize is that after we had let it set, there was still expanding going on the inside.
Oh, my.
And it form-fitted to my head. I only had it on for a few minutes. I was running around the house, loving it. This was the coolest thing, looking in the mirror. A few minutes later, okay, Bryce, well, let's take it off. Halloween's not till tomorrow. It wouldn't come off. It had formed to my head. We had to go to the doctor's office, and the doctor had to use one of those saws that they cut a cast off with.
Oh my God!
They had to use one of those. It took about an hour, and I could finally have. So it just took about an hour for him to get it off because the foam was like 8 inches thick in some places. So it was. I wasn't particularly scared, but my mother was terrified that it was never going to get. I thought it was pretty cool. Like, oh wow, I can still breathe, I can see, and now I'm going to go to school like this. This is the best thing ever. I think no, we had to go get it taken off, and so I think I ended up going as like. I don't know who.
So you had to get a store-bought costume.
Yeah, well,
all.
Not only that, I think I ended up going as I can't think of her name. Who does a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down?
Golly, I'm at a loss.
Mary Poppins. I had to go something like Mary Poppins. It was like the last thing that we had.
You were Mary Poppins?
Well, it was something like that. It wasn't as good of a Halloween.
You should have been Dick Van Dyke.
Oh, that's true. I did meet him one time, though, actually. But, well, folks, we appreciate you listening to us today. Again, we've got our final workshop coming up on the 5th and 7th, our Social Security workshop. If you're interested, that's going to be at 6:30 p.m. You attend one or the other. That's in Clemens, North Carolina, which is essentially Winston-Salem. Give us a call, 336-391-3409. Register with us, or, of course, go online at www.thewealthguardians.com. We'd love to have you there, and we'd love to see if we can help you with any additional financial planning, retirement planning that the services that Doug and our firm offer. So, again, 336-391-3409. Hope you have a great fall, rest of your weekend. We'll see you here next week. Take care.